All right, so I'm feeling, I think 202. We'll let usually some stragglers just start popping in. But I'll say if you want to go full screen with that, or however you want to
Can
set it up, and then we can start this off.
can do.
And guys,
Can
just
do.
so you know, I will be watching over the chat box as Alze presents, so that if you have any questions, we will be. Thank you, BJ. If you have any questions, if something doesn't make sense, right, we're going to be going through a lot of things. Ask questions. And if a lot of people ask a question, then we'll stop, make sure we explain it better, and address it. Otherwise, after his presentation, it'll go about 60 minutes, give or take. Probably a little shorter, maybe a little bit longer. We'll see. We'll definitely do a Q&A session. So if you have any questions, you want to write them down, write them down. We'll make sure to address them. But if something isn't quite clear, feel free to throw it in the chat, because if enough people are asking about it and talking about it, I'll make sure we address that.
Yeah, just to second that real quick, there is a lot of content here, and so we could go a lot of different ways. So wherever you want to go is where we'll go, but we won't know unless you put something in the chat box for us. So that's how we'll know what to do. So
Yeah, we want to go through the full process so that you guys can understand how all of it works and fits together. But I understand that sometimes, if you're hung up on step 4 and you really don't understand how step 4 works, and a lot of other people are the same way, we want to make sure we clarify that so we can continue on and it all makes sense. But it's an awesome presentation. I want you guys to keep your mind open, because what you need to realize with any of these systems is sometimes, no matter what business you're in, there might be a part. It might be step 3. It might be step 9. Maybe you don't do consultation calls. Maybe you send people to a landing page. But there's always a way that you can adjust the system to make it work for your business. So keep an open mind there. Don't just shut off and go, oh, this isn't going to work for me, because there's always a way that you can apply it to your business. And I think a lot of our members are either doing some marketing for themselves or they're doing client-based work. So I'm really excited for this, and I think cold email is actually, I think it's coming back. So I'll let you jump in here.
okay. Well, first of all, everybody, thank you for your time. Right now it's 2:05. This is time that you're not going to get back. I learned this a while ago. You can win and lose friends, you can win and lose money, you can win and lose stuff, but you can't win any time back. It just is what it is. So you're gonna spend this time with us, and hopefully you get your value worth. And I'm gonna do my very best to provide it. So quick check. I'm hearing a little bit of background noise. I don't know if that's somebody typing or if it's that trick door behind Sweeney, but just want to make sure that we limit.
Yeah, that was me typing. So now I know. I got you guys. I will make sure to keep the typing to a minimum.
Okay. So good deal. So everybody, so thanks to y'all for your time. Thanks to Sweeney and the team at Digital Triggers for giving me a chance to just share some of my own experiences. My name is Alze Calhoun. My company's name is Coveted Consultant, and there are some handouts that you can download right now if you need to. You don't have to download them right now, but they'll always be available, so you're not going to miss anything if you don't grab them. They're free, and it's a walkthrough of everything I'm showing you now. So you'll see it with me live, and then you can download it now if you like. So that link is already in the chat box, and you can I'll reference it here in a few slides as we go. So a little introduction about me. For those that know me, this is what I bring to the table. I am a strategic marketer. I am a team leader. I am a trusted advisor. And so as it relates to you, what I'm saying is that consulting is what I've always done professionally. And I did it when I was at an insurance company. I did process improvement. I did it for a radio station. I was in strategic planning. When I worked for the Cleveland Cavaliers, that's a story for a different day. But I worked in basketball operations, consulting on free agency, drafts, and trades. And one of my first projects actually was the negotiation strategy to keep LeBron James in Cleveland the first time. So moved on to Quicken Loans. I was in process improvement there too as a business consultant. I stepped out on my own, and I was helping launch this big program with Sprite called the Sprite Step Off. And so I was responsible for a $20 million budget, a nationwide program. And then I did some marketing consultancy work for a number of companies, again, performing as a consultant. And where I am now is coveted consultant, and really it's about scalable systems for business leaders. So consulting is the one thing I know. That's my point to you, and I've done it everywhere I've been, working for someone else or working for myself. So what I'm going to share with you today is specifically how to close high-end clients and how to do it through cold email. So you're trying to close great clients, but reaching out to them can be challenging, and putting a system around that can be challenging. So what I'm showing you today is exactly how I've done it. And this particular system, the step-by-step of this system, is what I use to close a $25,000 deal. So when I say high-end, that's what I'm talking about. Now, to be fair, right, your program might be double that cost. Your program might be $50,000, or it might be $500. The dollar amount doesn't matter. So I don't want you to get tricked up on what dollar amount you feel like you can command or not. So if you would please just type in the consulting services you're offering today, so we can kind of talk consultant to consultant. So whether you do it online, whether you do it personally, whether you do it in person, whether you do it over the phone, I don't care how you deliver it. I don't care what you call it. Just please type in some of the consulting services you offer today. I don't care about the price point. Just please type those into the chat box there. And Sweeney, if you wouldn't mind, would you mind reading a couple of those out as they come in?
Yeah, definitely. So we have local and PPC, new media and publicity, SEO, rep marketing, local social, brand, SEO reputation.
Good stuff.
Event, SEO. So a lot of, we also have someone here for auto dealers. Okay. A lot of lead gen, rep management, SEO, I'd say, and then PPC seems to.
Okay, good deal. All right, appreciate y'all. Okay, so here we go. So here's what we want, right? So consultant to consultant, here's what we want. What we want to happen is we want to be on the phone with somebody, and we want a conversation to go like this. You say, are you ready to get started today? They say, yes. How much does it cost? You say, $25,000. And they say, great, where do I sign? That is the epitome of what it means to close a high-level client. No fussing, no fighting, no argument, no arm wrestling. You just ask them if they want some help. They say yes. You give them a number. They sign up. It's a great deal for everybody. We get to move on, right? Now, here's the trick, though. The trick is what you have to do to create that end result, because it doesn't happen magically. It doesn't happen automatically. There's some things that you have to do as a business person to get to that end result. So I'm going to walk through some steps here, and then we'll do them in more detail. So starting with, there's an attitude shift you've got to make. I'm going to explain that. Then you got to define your superpower, right? So if folks are going to pay you a lot of money to do services, you got to do something awesome. So we'll talk about that. You're going to define their problem. You're going to define the client's problem as they see it. You're going to define your program, how you plan to solve that problem. You're going to develop your outreach email. So now you got to reach out to somebody who probably doesn't know you. You're going to develop your target list so that you know who you're reaching out to, so you have a pool of people. You're going to send those emails out. You're going to set the first appointment. You're going to listen to them in that first appointment. I'm going to explain how to do that in the best way. And then you're going to set your second appointment, which basically is the closing call. So you've got about a 10-step process here. I'm going to walk you through all of these. And just, let me pause for a second. Just type in real quick, which number, give me the number, which of these is most interesting to you right now? So as you read them, you want to learn more about which one. So just give me a number, and I'll have Sweeney call them out.
Sweet. Now we seems to be a range. I have number 1, I have the emails, 4 and 5, 9, 7, 6. So it seems like 1, 4, and 5 seem to be having
1, 4, and 5. Okay, so we got.
But it's a little bit all over the place. Everyone seems to be pretty interested
in the whole process. Okay, we'll do that. Just want to see where we are. All right, cool. Here we go.
A lot of
All
people
right.
are actually interested in the attitude shift, which works out perfectly because that's what we're about to jump into.
That's where we're starting. Excellent. Okay. So with that being said, I got to give you a couple of disclaimers, right? So here's the first disclaimer is that there is no silver bullet. The same way that there is no Santa Claus, there is no Easter Bunny, there is no Tooth Fairy, there is no silver bullet. So this is a process, it's a strategy, it's a system, and you've got to see it as that. So I'll give you, of course, the best I have about how to get the best out of each step of the system. But there just is no magic word to use or no magic tool to use. That's just not fair. It's just not true. So I wouldn't even act like that might be true. So that's the first warning. Here's the second warning: is you've got to do all the steps. And if you've twisted my arm to say, Alzay, give me the magic secret, that's what I would tell you, is that there are a number of steps, and following all of those steps and how they work together is where you're going to see the greatest benefit. And so here's warning number 3 is, and I'm pulling this from Yoda, who, by the way, is I'm a fan of Yoda, and he says, do or do not. There is no try. So here's the deal, y'all. You're gonna work this system, and you're gonna make some mistakes as you work the system. Who cares? It's not a matter of being perfect. Either you get the clients or you don't. Either you're working to get clients or you aren't. But playing with all the tools all day long isn't going to get you the clients. So you're going to have to make a decision if you're going to do this or not. But don't find yourself in the middle, because it doesn't provide your business any benefit. So those are my disclaimers. Here's my goal today. So is to explain the steps. I want to show you how they connect, how they work together, and then I want to encourage you to do the work. Now, before I get into all the nitty-gritty detail, establish a goal for yourself today. So just write it down. Whatever note system you've got, write it down, and if you're brave enough, please share it with us. But what is the goal you're trying to get done today? And like Sweeney said, that goal may be to learn one thing that you can add to your own existing funnel, add to your own client attraction process. That's totally cool. If your deal is, listen, I need a soup to nuts situation, a soup to nuts solution, then that's fine. We can talk about that. But in the spirit of getting the most out of your time, let's establish a goal for today. So,
and guys, too, part of it is don't get hung up on the entire system. Get one email out. I mean, learn the full system, but the key is getting an email out. Send out an email. Or if you're on the later stage of the game, maybe your goal today is to actually end up closing a client. Maybe you have some prospects that you're talking to, and he can actually help you a lot with how you're doing your closing process.
Right. So wherever you are, right? So that we're just trying to get a sense of where we are, so we can spend time in a place that matters, right? We're just trying to provide some value to. So, Sweeney, are you getting anything coming through? Are there any brave souls out there?
Yep. So we see a system to basically have a process and find customers or clients. I love it. Goal: get email out and close at least one customer. Okay. We have sent out 10 emails today. Someone else who is goal: find my missing puzzle piece.
Okay, good stuff. Okay, cool. Appreciate it. All right. And by the way, Sweeney, just if we get to a step that meets one of those goals, we'll stop and we'll dig a little deeper. So, all right. So here we go. Here's step 0. Right, starting at the very beginning. So you've got to make an attitude shift. And here's what I mean is we want to offer something interesting, or use a different word, powerful enough to get a response from a cold email. And so when I say interesting and powerful, I'm not talking about something that's pricey or expensive. That's a secondary goal. We're talking about something valuable. So you've got to make a decision before we even get into crafting emails and sending them out and making a list and going through all that stuff. We got to make sure that what we're offering is going to be actually exciting to someone who receives an email in their inbox, right? So that's place number 1. Again, we can talk a lot about that, but that's the basic idea there. So if we're going to do this, then let it be something that can be compelling to somebody else, not just something we want to sell to someone else. So that's starting at the very beginning. Let's go on to step number 1. So step number 1 is to define your superpower. So here's a phrase that you can write down. We can fill in the blanks. And if you do this as we go, you're going to find some value. So I help people accomplish a goal with my skills. So that's the fill in the blank. So the blanks there is what that goal is, and the blank is what your skills are. And I'm going to give you some examples so that this can be easier for you to do. So here are a couple of examples. So the first one is I help people turn $1 into $3 with advanced paid traffic strategies. And this quote is I pulled off of Justin Brooks' website. If you know who Justin Brook is, he's a guy I really respect. I think he's doing some really good work out there, and he's an agency. He runs an agency that's based around paid traffic strategies. And so that's his big idea to his prospective clients is I'm gonna help you turn your $1 in traffic spend into $3 in revenue. And he does it with advanced paid traffic strategies. So that's how he fills in that simple sentence. Example number 2 is I help people grow their business with video. And I pulled this one from Brian Harris, who blogs at Video Fruit. And so he's got a lot of good things going on at his blog. But he got started with this idea of creating explainer videos. And so how do you use video to grow your business? That's what Brian is based in. So that's how he would fill out this very simple phrase. Here's the phrase that I used when I got started with this particular campaign is I help people turn their marketplace message into simple, sequenced marketing campaigns. So from my perspective, if you believe that you have something compelling to offer the market, then I can help you turn that message into marketing campaigns that attract clients. And in my world, for me, I have a number of step-by-step ways of doing that. I have whole systems for doing that. So you got to define your superpower here, and I'm giving you a phrase to kind of help you zero in on that. So if you'll just even if you're kind of your hand might be shaking as you fill in the blank because you're not quite sure what to put there. Put something there, and then we'll keep as we go through the further steps. This will make more and more sense. So that's all step 1. So now we're going into step 2 is defining your superpower, and I think I made a mistake there, but follow the phrase underneath it. So if you have a problem with a big issue, I can help you. So this is the focus on not you, the service you want to sell, but the big problem that your target client has. So for example,
so step 2 is define their problem.
Yeah, thank you, Sweeney. Step 2 is define their problem. Thank you. So typo up there. Step 2 is define their problem. So we want to be clear about what their big issue is. So to be very plain, nobody wants web design. Like nobody is sitting at their desk going, man, I need some web design. Nobody says that. People say, I need a new website. People say that. People say things like, I'm not getting any clients from my website. People say that. People say, my website sucks. People say that. But no one just kind of sits at their desk and says, I need web design. Like no one says that. So again, the idea here is to focus around what their big problem is. So here's some examples of that. So these are borrowed from the examples I just took in step number 1. If you got a problem with making paid traffic profitable, I can help you. That's what Justin Brooks says. That's what his agency is all about. Brian Harris says in example number 2, if you got a problem creating an explainer video, I can help you. Right? So straightforward. Here's the message that I used. If you have a problem turning your message into marketing campaigns that convert, I can help you. So for those people who explain their services all day long, but no one seems to get it, quote unquote, then I can help you turn those marketing campaigns or turn that message into marketing campaigns that convert. Hold on one second, y'all. Hold on one second. I'm in a co-working space, and so the lady just asked me to not talk so loud, so I've got to lower my voice. So that is step number 2, everybody. Is anybody stuck there? Because in a minute we're going to shift on to something else. So is anybody stuck here? And if so, yell out where you're stuck in the chat box.
Everybody seems to be good. Not really seeing too many questions. I think the way you explain it makes it pretty straightforward. You got to define your superpower, what you're good at, and then define their problem and see, if it connects or not.
Okay. All right. So if you've written down these two phrases, you've got stuff in the blank. We're going to keep going. All right. So step 3 now is to define your program. So you've got to name your program, whatever you choose to name it. But then there's a price and a time frame. So now we got to decide how much is your program going to cost and how long should it last. This conversation right here could be, another hour presentation to itself. Let me simplify it by kind of putting a few prompts in front of you. So if I told you that your program should cost $200, what would you say? If I told you your program should cost $2,000, what would you say? How would you respond? If I told you your program should cost $20,000, what would you say? How would you respond? So the idea there is these numbers kind of give you something to push against. So if I say, listen, your program should be $200, and you go, Alze, not a chance. My program is worth at least 10 times that. Okay, cool. Your program should be worth $10,000. I'm sorry, or $2,000. If I say your program is $2,000, and you go, Alze, I don't know if I should charge $2,000. I think something like $1,800 makes more sense. Okay, well, there you go. Now you have a number. Okay, so there's no math, there's no science, there's no beautiful way of getting to the answer, but you got to get yourself in a range that makes sense. And so you can use these 3 numbers as a way to kind of give guidelines to where you are, okay, to where your price point should be. So the same thing for how long your program should last. So is it 6 days? Is it 6 weeks? Is it 6 months? So again, if I say, hey, man, listen, your program should be 6 days long, and you go, Alze, I can't get it done in 6 days. It's not a 6-day thing. It's more like a 4-week thing. Okay, well, there you go. It's now 4 weeks long. Or if I say, listen, your program should be 6 months, and you go, Alze, 6 months that's overkill. We can get this thing done in like 48 hours. Okay, well, then there you go. It's a 48-hour program. So whatever your service offering is, you can shape it a lot of different ways. But these things give you guidelines on what your program should look like. Now, I'm making this clear. Guys, you've got to be clear. You got to have clear answers to these things before you start reaching out to people. You've got to provide them with a very clear offer to say yes and to say no to, or yes or say no to. So you've got to take your time to get clear here. Now, if you're following along with us and you're just kind of filling in the blanks, on your notepad, step by step, then you're doing the heavy lifting now. But if you start doing the outreach stuff without being clear about these things, then the outreach you're not going to do very well, and it's going to stink. It's going to be very unfun. So we're laying some really appropriate ground rules right now. So that is step 3. So
we have a good question here that actually, Alze, if we can jump back real quick.
Yeah.
Danny asked, should we test variables in step 3?
So you're asking, like, should you put forth your program as a $200 option, and then try a $2,000 option, and then etc. So here is how I'd respond to that. If you're driving a lot of traffic, so if you've got, paid traffic, or you struck some JV deal and you're going to get 1,000 people to respond to your offer, then yes, you can test in that way for sure. That's enough traffic where you can begin to do some testing. In this, for cold email, you're probably not going to send out that many emails. So I think I sent out 160 something, somewhere in that range is how many I sent out. And with direct outreach like that, you don't have to test the same way. Here is what I would say to you is very directly, so I'll say, what should I do? I would go with your best guess, your best estimation, and reach out according to the way that I'm going to describe here in just a minute. To answer that directly, here's what I would say.
And I think too, with this, a lot of people get hung up on price. You have to make sure that the cost is something that's worth your time, and it has to be a price that you're comfortable and confident with. If you don't feel like your services are worth $5,000 a month, you're not, subconsciously, your body language, your tonality is going to speak that through, and you're not going to you're not really going to be able to close that person. So I would rather someone like that price your services a little bit lower and then build them up.
Agreed.
So that's and you can always build up your prices. So that's another thing. I mean, sure, you can test variables, and it is possible, but it's kind of over optimization, I would say. You're probably better off picking a price, picking a time, sticking with it, and then as you're having more success, you're having more clients come in. You can only handle 4 clients a month, and one client drops off, and you have 20 prospects. Guess what? Bump up your price.
And I was going to save this point for later, but I'm going to go ahead and make it now. Because what you really want in this, as you create your program, you reach out to people, and you're having these conversations. Those conversations with your clients, or those prospective clients, will tell you what to do. They will that direct feedback, even if it's from two, three, or 4 people, will tell you a lot about where your program, where it is as far as what their needs are. So you want to get to that part as quickly as you can, the actual interaction part with prospective clients as quickly as you can, so you can make the appropriate tweaks. But to Sweeney's point, if you over optimize up front, it's just not as much fun. You'll work yourself out of it. So, all right, Sweeney, anything else here, or should we move on to the next step?
No, we have a question about who to send the emails to, but I think we'll address that later.
Yeah, it's coming actually very, very quickly. So here we go. So how about this? All right, so I'm skipping over step 4 so that I can answer that exact question, right? So who do you send these emails to? All right, so I happen to find, in my situation, I found a group of people who were trying to build their business, and they wanted, they were interested in opportunities to build their business. And so in their profiles, they included their email. And so I was able to just send out the email to the people who were already in this list. So in my particular situation, when I ran this particular campaign, that's where I started. And I started with a list of people who already kind of raised their hand and said, I need help building my business. So that's that. You can certainly go down that track. I mean, there are ways to do that. But here's where I would suggest you start. If you know you're at a starting place with this, I would start with the people who already know you. And I've heard the objection before. Well, I don't know anybody, yada yada yada. Yeah, you know more people than you think you do. So here's my proof for that. What you're looking at in front of you are my social media sites, and so I've got 1,200 people on LinkedIn. I've got 959 friends on my personal Facebook, and a lot of my business and personal folks kind of overlap. I've got 1,700 contacts in my Gmail account, and I've got a stack of business cards that are all in this picture that I've cropped for you. So these are examples of people that I know, I know them, they know me, they already know what I'm about. I just haven't talked to them in a while. So I can just reach out to them, send an email, say, hey, I'm doing this thing. Do you think it can help you? So, if you add the numbers up, it's probably 3,000 or 4,000 people that are in my little world here, and you don't need 3,000 people to make this work for you. Again, I sent out about 160 emails myself. So there's the direct answer there. Go to where you've already got people pulled up, start there, and that will get you some momentum. So to add to that answer, so I've kind of ranked, where your existing audience may be, and kind of the value of them. So always the best place to reach out to secure new customers is your existing customer list. That's always the best place to go if you've got one. If you've got a prospect list, they haven't bought anything from you, but you've got a list of prospects in your CRM software, or you've got Aweber, Constant Contact, any of those kind of CRM systems. And of course, that's the second best place to go. I talked about Google Contacts, LinkedIn, Facebook, and your business cards. So those are all warmer. Each of those is warmer than if you're reaching out to cold people, and give you a better chance for success. So there's my full answer.
And guys, real quick, step 4 is to develop your outreach email, and that's why we jumped over it real quick, because a lot of people get hung up on what to say in the email. So we want to spend some time with that. So that's why we kind of to keep the progression going. So just to clarify that, I had a few questions on that, and I just wanted to let you guys know that step 4 is to develop your outreach email, and then obviously step 5 is who to send that email to.
Yeah. So you could flip flop those either way you want, but yeah, thank y'all for asking about that. So we got it clear. So I was trying to make it easy to kind of follow in today's presentation. So there we are with step 5. That's where you would go. Please do not discount your existing network. Please do not discount your existing network. Okay, moving on. So now we're going to go to the mind map. So now we're going to walk through. So this mind map I'm going to show you is the exact mind map that is available in the download that I gave you, and I'm going to walk you through all the pieces of it. So it gets a little technical, I guess, from here, but it should be fun. So here we go.
Love the Batman picture. Love the Batman.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So we already had the conversation about who is going to receive. And by the way, you should be looking at a mind map now. So just kind of give me a few whys to make sure that you still see my screen and that everything is cool. So why means yes, that you see the mind map.
Everyone is seeing it except for Scott Duncan. And I see no picks. It's only from 1 to 10. All right, I'll reach out. So yeah, I think we're good. I'll reach out to the people that had problems. Double check.
Okay, thank you. Okay, good deal. All right, just want to make sure we didn't get lost in the switch. Okay, so you're looking at the mind map here. Again, this exact mind map is what you have access to. So and all the stuff I'm going to show you here are all inside. So in this mind map, we talk about who's going to receive your emails. We just talked about that. What I didn't say a minute ago is if you struck a deal with a JV partner, that's also an option. If you have someone in mind for this JV partnership, then go ahead and reach out to them and propose something. But if you don't have existing partner relationships, don't force it. Don't stop yourself because you don't have some awesome JV partnership. I don't want you to get confused or hung up by that. Okay, so here we go. So now we're gonna take a look at the first email. So Sweeney has been telling me that there's probably a number of folks who are like, what do we send out in the first place? Like, how do we actually? What do we say when we reach out to these people? So I'm going to show you a template that has already been created. Which, by the way, this is that template right there. So again, you're getting the same thing. So where did it go? Let me pull it back up here. Open that up. And so what you're looking at here is the email template that I actually sent out. So I'm going to walk through it because I think it's important to understand how it's structured so you can see where the value is and make it worth your while. So here's the subject that I use. This is the exact subject that I used. Have you thought about solution in year? And so at this particular time, I was selling this product launch service. So it said, have you thought about product launches in the year 2013, 2014, right? So no magic science, nothing totally complex. I'm trying to highlight their problem. These people who want to do product launches because they know what the value of that is. So I said, hello, my name is, I located your name in this place, on Twitter, on Facebook, in LinkedIn, wherever you found them, or, you and I are friends already. This is just how you know them, right? So I read that you were looking for whatever, right? So if you're in this forum, you want to learn more about this, know more about that, or you and I met at this coffee shop or at this networking situation, whatever, right? So just how you know them, right? You're just connecting those dots. So you may recognize.
And guys, I will jump in here and say that if you don't know them, you can mention how you found them. If you found their website somewhere, mention how you found their website. Maybe you're looking to work with a local business, and you can say, hey, I happened to stop by your business, and I left a review on Yelp, and this is why I liked your business. Anyways, have you tried this? Or, if you're reaching out to a product owner, if I was reaching out to a digital product owner, I might say, hey, I saw that you had tweeted about product launches, and I actually do product launches, into the rest of the email. So don't get too caught up there if you haven't actually met the person before. You just want to build some sort of connection, some sort of thing in common. And that's where, too, you can go on someone's Twitter so easily nowadays. And for example, on the Digital Triggers Twitter, it says, I love donuts. So you could say, hey, I saw you on Digital Triggers. I'm actually starting a podcast. I love donuts as well. And do something to build that. Who is this person? Oh, okay, they're a person. I relate to them. And then they'll read the rest of your email. So that's kind of the answer to that part.
Yeah, that's all we're doing. We're just doing human connection here. And by the way, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but this is really important. People do business with people, right? So we all get emails from people that feel canned, that feel formulaic, and we don't like them, right? It feels like a machine wrote the email and sent it to us, right? Nobody wants to talk to a machine. So again, that's the idea behind this email and the way that it's structured is to make sure that we feel like an actual human being. Be human, right? And being human will take you much further than any copywriting trick you can try to put together. So that's the idea. Okay. So in my particular, so I'm moving on. So the next line here, and Sweeney, can you see my cursor? Is that showing up for you?
Yes, sir.
It is? Okay, good deal.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, so I'm at the second line here, right? So you may recognize my name from. Now, in my particular situation, this community knew a little bit about me. So I'm not a household name or anything, but they knew a little bit about me. So this was more to that human connection thing. Okay. If this doesn't apply to you, simply delete it by pressing the delete button, just like that. Okay, it goes away. All right. So don't overthink it. Please do not overthink it. Okay. So here's the next part that's important right here is I have a number of ready-made solutions that work really well for a given ideal client, basically them, right? I wonder if you'd be interested in applying these same solutions to your existing situation. In other words, I have stuff that works. If you'd like to use it, let me know. That's all we're saying, right? Again, no high pressure, no weird tactics. We're being very upfront with what it is we have to offer, okay? Next step here. All you have to do is press reply to this email and tell me that you're interested. We'll set up a short strategy call and discuss what's possible. So we're making a response easy. This is your call to action, right? This is your, that all important call to action. It's right here. It's very simple. It's not hypey. All they have to do is just press reply and type the word interested. That's it. Okay. Again, we want to keep this simple. And so then let them know what happens after that. We will set up a strategy call to discuss what's possible. Okay. Now, so here's the second kind of major piece of the email here is what I'm highlighting now. So for your clarity, my strategies work best for. And now we're going to begin to qualify people. So now you're qualifying the person who you just reached out to. So for people who fit a certain set of good criteria, and this is why you had to do that pre-work up front, right? What is your superpower? What is their problem? How does your problem help them? You got to get clear about that. So when you write this email, you can put that information right up front. You can say, listen, if you are in this situation, situation A, situation B, situation C, or situation D, then you and I will do great things together. Who is this not for? If you're in situation 1, 2, 3, or 4, this is probably not the best fit for you. And you want to do that qualifying up front, because the people who respond will have read the email and they will have qualified themselves. Major point here, y'all. When you sent out this email correspondence, someone has read it, and you already know if they press response, if they press reply and say that they're interested, they have qualified themselves. And there's so much heavy lifting you don't have to do now. There's so much vetting that you don't have to do, because they decided that what you put, when you said it's good for people who are in a certain situation, they read that and go, yeah, that's me. And then press reply. There's a lot of work you don't have to do. So to close out the email, if you're interested, simply press reply now, and I'll respond with more information. We can set up a time to speak. Talk soon. I'll say. So there's kind of three major sections of the email, right? The very first section was to be human and to connect. Hey, my name is, I found you here. I think I might be able to help you, right? That was the first major part of the email. The second major part of the email was to say who it's for and who it's not for. So before you respond, here are a couple things you should know. If you're in this spot, I can help you. It's gonna be really good. If you're in this spot, I probably won't be able to help you. And then you simply just remind them again how they can respond. You just press reply, and they can, and then you'll take over from there. Okay. So let me pause here. Let's take some questions. Are you confused or are you confident by what you just looked at? Is this simpler now or is it good to go? So you guys tell us so we know what to do.
Denny was asking a little bit about what to say, what to write to someone who doesn't even know you exist, which I kind of covered a little bit. So Denny, we'll circle back to that in the Q&A part. Does anyone else have any questions as far as the email? And I want to say too, don't get hung up on this, because if I were to send this email, I would probably structure it a little bit differently. That's fine. There's tons of different ways that you can send emails. There's different cold emails you can use, and if you have something that works for you, feel free to run with it. But this is something great that has worked. It's worked for him, and you can use as well. So you don't want to get hung up on this. So I have a question here. Would it be a good idea to include a link to your appointment scheduler? Rather press reply, basically use the same content but lead to the appointment scheduler. I'm going to say probably not. I think it's going to be an email exchange before you agree to get on the phone. Someone else said, how do you know I was working on this piece of my work? Johan, I'm not quite sure what you mean there. John says, best to focus on only one product or solution, or instead lots of options. Once again, I think, John, that you want to kind of keep your focus to one or maybe two solutions, because what you're trying to find is someone that's really looking for what you have. You got to get your foot in the door, and you can always, open up the full product house once you get your foot in the door and you see more about their business. But to start the relationship, it helps a lot more, I think, if you can hang your hat on, hey, I do this well, or I do this well. What do you think, Jose?
Yeah, I would even be more deliberate. I would say you need one thing. You want people to read this email, and you want them to say yes or no to one idea. And so this is where your pre-work comes into play here, right? Your superpower, right? So Superman, the comic book character Superman can do a number of things, right? He can run as fast, faster than a speeding bullet. He can lift heavy things. He can shoot eye rays out of his eyes. I mean, there are some awesome things that Superman can do. But if you try to explain all of that at one time, you will overwhelm anybody, right? So the summary of all that is we just call him a superhero, right? And that's the summary. So to say that another way, a little more specifically. So I heard for the folks who are on the line, there are a number of folks who do web marketing work, and that could be SEO, that could be reputation management, that could be a PPC. I heard some of that, but let me just kind of boil this down. So if we're looking for a superpower here, what is the thing, right? So for example, if you need help turning website visitors into customers, I can help you. There's the superpower, right? It's turning website visitors into customers, right? So yes, you may do PPC, SEO, and reputation management. You may do all three of those things, but if you put them in the email, you're going to more than likely overwhelm the person you're talking to, right? So if you say, listen, if you need help turning website visitors into customers, I can help you. And matter of fact, let me keep flowing through the email so you can see how that might lay out. So for your clarity, my strategies work best for people with an existing website, people with existing website traffic, people with it who are getting at least 10 conversions on their website per month. I'm making this up. And people who have an existing budget for website design and web marketing improvements. So if you fit those 4 categories, then this is a good thing for you. Now, who is this not for? If people without a budget, an existing budget for web design improvements or web marketing improvements, this is not for you. People who do not have a web presence already. So if you don't already have a website, then we're not helpful for you. Okay. So though you do a number of different services, the superpower you presented them with was a very simple idea of turning web visitors into customers. So I'm trying to apply, I'm trying to use an example that we can all appreciate in this context, right? So what else, Sweeney? Was there anything else we should tackle?
The main one I see here, besides an awesome comment from Jorgen Hurmel, I hope I said your name right, bud, is would you send a link to learn more about yourself? So would you maybe drop a PS, hey, if you want to check out my website, here's my website, you can check it out here, or what would you do with that kind of, how would you approach that?
So my particular point of view on that is do not send them anything extra. Why? Because what you want this person to do is to respond with interest. That's what you want them to do. If you give them a homework assignment, like to go look at my website and then come back to the email, you've given them, you've entered into the maze, right? So there are
guys. That's a variable you could test, but to speak to him, I agree. Thank you, Matt. Matt said I did that and the conversions drop. Wait until they respond. I agree, because what you're trying to do here is you're trying to give enough information that you can get them on the hook and to engage you in a conversation.
That's right.
Because once someone sends a reply email to you, right? So just think about yourself. If I've never talked to you before and I send you an email and you don't reply, life goes on. You don't care. No one cares. If I send you an email and you reply, now we're in an open loop. Now we're in a conversation. Now we're, associated by some degree, and you're going to be more likely to respond and keep corresponding.
Absolutely. You are trying to get someone, all we're trying to do with this first step is just take a first step. That's it. Just the first step, which is to say, I'm interested. And then from there, you can do some other things. So actually, to give it with some more context, let me take you into the next step. And I think the strategy here will make even more sense to you. So you sent out the first email, which provides the introduction, right? Hello, my name is, do you need help with this thing? Here's who is good and not good for. Let me know if you want to go forward, right? So then you take step number 2. So assuming they respond with being interested, you're going to thank them for their response, and then you're going to ask you're going to provide some follow-up instructions. So here's what that looks like. That looks like this. Let me get the other.
Real quick, Ozzy, I'm going to do a little test with my mic here. How does my mic sound right now? Is it too echoey or anything like that? I switched up the gain a little bit.
Sound all right? Sounds clear to me. Sounds clear, yeah.
All right, so I'll keep it there.
Okay. All right, so this is assuming where we are right now is you sent out the first email, they responded and said interested. Let's assume they only used that one word. They typed in interested, period, okay? And they hit reply. So you get back that email and you say, thank you so much for responding. I think you're really going to enjoy our upcoming conversation. I'm looking forward to it already. First, please answer the questions below so I can prepare a few thoughts before we speak. So there's some further qualifying questions you want to ask here, okay? This is not about rocket science, but you know what your clients have to have if they're going to be able to do good work with you. There's some basic line things they have to have. And so you want to ask them about those things up front. Okay, so this what I'm telling you, what I'm giving you now is exactly what I used. And I don't have any challenge of sharing my exact examples. As a matter of fact, they're already in the download. So you'll get not only this template, but you'll get the ones I actually used. So moving on, all right? So provide a brief description of your situation. Again, some of those qualifying things that are important that you know that client has to have if they're going to get the most from your services. What's your single biggest challenge today, and why? What because they needed help, everybody. They needed help. And I reached out to them and said, I have solutions for this problem that you have. And for the people who really want help, then they will follow this dialogue with you, right? So that's what Sweeney said. We're opening up a conversation now. We're now in dialogue. So they will provide the information that you need, so you don't waste their time, they don't waste your time, etc. So this is good stuff. This is uh, this is part of the attitude shift, y'all. Like, this is the attitude shift that says what I do is awesome, and I want to be working with clients who know what I do is awesome. And that was why it was step 0. It's where you got to start. So that's why it's so important to get your head there before you start writing up all this stuff. Okay. So once they've answered the questions, the second is, let's set a time to talk and discuss some strategies. And so that's where I put the link to my calendaring system. I used, for this particular campaign, I used a digital calendaring system, which I'll share with you. It's called Appointlet. But yes, so they would answer the questions, and they would fill out the scheduler, and then bang, I had an appointment. Okay. So now, again, for full context, you send out this email. Will they respond with, all the questions answered and set an appointment immediately? Probably not. It may take 12 hours. It may take 24 hours. It may take a couple of days to get somebody to respond. But just because they don't respond immediately doesn't mean that they're not interested. On our side, as the consultants, the people who are trying to sell our services, we get really, really excited to sell our stuff. And for us, we get disappointed when someone doesn't respond immediately. But for that business owner, they're doing whatever they're doing, right? And so they get to your email as fast as they can. So you send the email, you wait a couple of days, and then you just simply remind them about this email, and they'll fill it out, right? So I'm trying to take out the anxiety of it, or the fear of it, that, because the rejection we can talk about that all day too. It's not about rejection. They just haven't gotten around to it yet. So a simple reminder will help them fill this out. Questions here? Were there any thoughts that were coming up about this, Sweeney, about this step of it?
So we have Matt, who recommended using email tracking for opens, clicks, and read times, which helps a lot.
Absolutely.
On when to follow up. And
Yeah.
I think
Yes.
you do. So I just made a quick note of that on tools for email tracking.
What did I missed? We kind of got disconnected for a second. What tool did you suggest?
He just recommended email tracking in general, to track,
Okay.
the opens, clicks, and read times. And I know there's a few different tools. So Matt uses Point of Mail. What's the one that you use? I'll make sure to link to that too as well.
HubSpot, and actually, I did not use email tracking when I did this, so I've gotten better as time goes on. But HubSpot has a free tool called Signals. It's a Chrome extension. HubSpot Signals. And I've been using that, and I've been liking that
one. All right, sweet.
Okay.
And then we also have someone who asked, we had someone who asked, would this email template work if I call them on the phone after the first response? And I would say to that, part of this process is you need to look at this as lead qualification. So you don't want to be jumping on the phone with everyone. You don't want to be, you don't want to take phone calls almost. Like, you only want to jump on the phone call if you know that it is, almost a perfect candidate and a really good match. So don't think about, like, how quickly can I get them on the phone. It's almost how many less people can I get on the phone, because I'm qualifying them and I know that I'm only dealing with people that I might actually end up working with. And the reason why you want to do that is because if you do 30 phone calls in 1 week, you are going to be burnt out. and you're not going to convert as well either, because you're
Yeah.
not going to be pumped up for these calls. So, and then someone else
Yeah.
said, "Can we tell them how long the first call will be for?"
Sure, you can. Yeah, sure. Now, because that's a good edit for my own templates here. Sure, you can. Sure, you can. Okay, yeah. Let me move on here, because I'm looking at what time it is, and there's a lot more content in here. So what I'll do is I'll just speed it up, give it an overview, and then we'll see where we land. Okay, so they have, at this point, they have um, uh, responded, and you said, hey, give me a little more information and schedule your time. Okay, so what's important here, y'all, is they have to answer the questions before you get on the phone. So you sent them some questions, right? In that second email, these questions, they need to answer the questions before you get on the phone. And there are a number of reasons for that. Here are two fast reasons. First of all, is they need to be very clear about what their own problem is before you talk to them. So this is another reason why you don't want to just jump on the phone and start talking to folks, because they need to be clear on their side. They're the customer. They have to realize that they really have an issue with turning web visitors into customers. And you can't talk them into that. They've got to be clear about it on their own. So these questions help them remember that they really have a problem. Okay, that's the first part of it. The other part of it too is that you need your clients to do what you say. Period. If you're giving people advice, they have to follow your advice. It's not fair for your client to take your advice, to take your advice, not follow it, and then blame you for a lack of results. Now, man, that's a whole hour by itself. I won't do it, but not cool, not fair. So you begin to set, in this lead qualifying rhythm, you begin to set this expectation of the client has to give you work. There's things the client has to do. They have to respond to your instructions. That's why you're the consultant, right? Otherwise, they would do it themselves, right? So there's a rhythm being set up here, and that's part of what's kind of subtly happening as we go through all of this. So, okay, I am going to kind of speed myself up here, because I realize where we are in the timing of everything. So let me show you the third email, how you respond. This is not hard at all. This is very straightforward. So great. We are confirmed for the time. I look forward to speaking with you. Here are a couple of short notes before we talk. Please watch this short video so that you know how to prepare for our conversation. Okay, now I'm going to show this to you, and I know that some folks are going to be like, wait a minute, because I can feel the overwhelm. So I don't want you to be overwhelmed, but I do want you to appreciate what's here. And I'm trying to see if I can zoom this picture in. Here we go. All right. So when these people chose their consultation time, I sent them an email. Make it a little smaller here. They chose a consultation time and said, good, talk to you soon. Take a look at this. And so you see the headline. The headline says, how to prepare for our coming conversation. And then I sent them a short screen capture video that explained exactly what we were going to talk about before we actually talked about it. So I said, I'm going to ask you these questions. I'm going to ask you how you've been handling them today. I'm going to ask you if you'd like some help. And if you'd like some help, here's what I'm going to say. I told them all of it before we got on the phone. What you'll also see beneath here are some of the testimonials that I happen to put here. Now, if you've got testimonials, great. You don't have to have testimonials. But I happen to have some, so I used them. Okay? But that's actually not important. What is most important here is that you send them this video so that they can, it doesn't have to be a video, by the way, either, but the idea here is you're helping the person prepare for the call before they get on it. And for anybody who has been on sales calls before, it is so frustrating to talk to a prospective client who is not focused on the topic of the call. They get on the phone and they just start talking about stuff. They get on the phone and they start complaining to you about their wife and their kids and their employees. And you're thinking, what does it have to do with SEO, man? I'm trying to get you, better content. I'm trying to get you more links. I'm trying to increase your rankings. And they're talking to you about all this other stuff. So it is up to you as the consultant to help prepare people for the call. And this is what you've got to do. You've got to create some short, tight content that helps them prepare. So I can appreciate your objection, Alzay. What the heck goes in this video? And so I already have a template for that. It's here.
Alzay, do you have a link to that page by any chance so that people can double check that page and maybe come back to it?
It's a picture. So what I get, what you have here is a screenshot, and it's in the download that we've already talked about. This is everything I'm showing you is in the download, so you can see it step by step. All right. So I realize it can be a lot of content at one time to digest. So, but that's where it is. All right. Cool. Now I need to get this thing to stop. The fancy, try that. Okay. Sorry about this, y'all. A little tech issue is now I can't close.
I was going to say that picture is not one of the.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I was going to say try hitting escape.
All right, so there we go. So we're out of the picture. All right. So that one might be a surprise because you may not have had anyone show anything like that to you before. Is anybody stuck on that one? Does anybody have any commentary or any questions about that element, that piece of the puzzle? Because as far as new things, that might be something that's new that you haven't seen before. The other pieces you may have already seen before.
Everyone seems to be good so far.
Cool.
I think that part was easy enough.
Okay, fair enough. All right. So then you want to honor the free consultation. Now, for those who have done free consultations, you know what this is all about. So I won't over explain what goes in here. But what is important are a couple of basic ground rules. So the first ground rule, and by the way, like I promised, I've already got there is already a script that's already here. If you need help with that, I've already got a full script for it. If you feel like you need that. But here's some basic ideas where folks make mistakes with the free consultation. And that's this big headline here at the beginning. Remember, this process is not about you talking. It's about you listening. So if you get on the phone too early, you have to do a lot of talking to explain to the prospective client what you do, how it works, how it can help them, et cetera, et cetera. And that's too much talking. The more you talk, the less it decreases your conversions. So the other way, when you've done the appropriate qualifying, as we're talking about, is they now know they have a problem. And so when they get on the phone with you, they want to tell you about it. They're excited to tell you about their problem. So when you get on the phone, let them tell you. Let them tell you all about their problem. And if you just be quiet, they will tell you, and you'll learn amazing things about your client if you could just be quiet long enough to let them tell you. So that's one big idea about the free consultations, that most of us talk way too long when we should be listening. That's big idea number one. Big idea number two about the free consultation is you need to make sure before you get off the phone that you do understand their particular problem. So again, you may want to offer a number of solutions. Maybe in your world they all mix together to create something great. Your client doesn't care about all that. They don't care about PPC and web design and SEO and link building. They do not care. What they care about is people going to their website and buying something. And so however they say that is how you need to hear it. You need to hear their language for it. So that's what you're listening for, is to help them tell you exactly what their problem is in their words. Here's the third big thing about the free consultation, which you got to make sure that you do. The closing is a two-step process. And so when you close these, when you're in the closing conversations, the first conversation, the free consultation, the first conversation is to understand their problem. And it's a discovery call. The second conversation is the big closing call, and you need to make sure that all of the appropriate decision makers are present. So you honor the free consultation. You've walked through all that. You just heard me explain all that. But when you get to the second call, hey, it was good talking to you today. Let's say today is Tuesday. So it was good talking to you on Tuesday. Why don't we talk again on Friday at 3 p.m. and we'll wrap everything up. And so just please do me a favor, is make sure that you also bring your business partner and your director of marketing on that call so we can all be in agreement about what needs to happen next. Bang. You just did it. You just told them what needs to happen on this next call, so there are no confusion, or there is no confusion about what it is that you're trying to sell them. Okay, so this in the second call, you're just looking at my notes here. Is you're going to share screens and walk through their solution. I've got a tool I can share with you about how to do that. When you're on the second call, this is not about pitching. There's actually very little pitching done throughout this entire interaction. So you're on the second call, everybody's there. The owner, their business partner, their director of marketing, or whoever else needs to be on the call, we're on the call together, and you're simply explaining to them what you do. You say, hey, I heard you guys tell me that you're having real trouble turning website visitors into customers. So here's how that process works. Steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Is this something y'all want to do? And they will tell you yes, or they'll tell you no. You can mess this up, everybody. And I wish I was looking at y'all in the face to make sure that you guys understood how powerful this is. You can mess this up and break a deal here by over communicating, overselling, and pushing too hard. But by the time you finally get here, they will have decided what they want to do, and they will be ready to pay whatever whatever the cost of your engagement is. So again, the closing call, the big idea here is that everybody who's part of the decision-making process needs to be present. If they cannot be present, then do not set the second call. Move it, change the date, change the time, but do not get back on that phone with them unless everybody who is important to deciding is present. The second thing is you're just showing them what you do. You're recapping what they told you, and you're showing them what you do, and they're going to make a decision while they're on the phone with you right then. That's why you're having this call, so that the client, the prospective client, can make a decision right then. And so when they decide, they pay the money, and now you're working. And now you don't have to do all that fussing, because now everybody understands what to do. So I'm going to conclude everything, and then we'll go Q&A. So the next step here.
Let me jump in here real quick.
Okay.
How's it? Someone asked, what do you tell them the need for the next call is? So you have that free consultation call, and you say it's on Tuesday. You say, hey, let's follow up Friday. What do you tell them the need for that call is?
So one situation, which I already explained, is if there's other people who need to be a part of the decision-making process, the second call is their invitation to also converse with you. So that's one reason. The other reason is you as the consultant, and they know as a prospective client that they need time to make a decision. So you don't want to try to force them to make a decision in the first time you've ever talked to them. So you have this conversation, you've done the discovery, and say, listen, so, is this something you think you might want to do, or how do you feel about it? And then they'll tell you, I feel this way, or I feel that way. They will just tell you. And so if they want to go a little further, you say, great. So why don't you think about it? And then on Friday at 4 p.m., I'll show you the whole process and how everything works, and then you can make your final decision then. And then there you go. if you're in a situation where they say, you know what, Jose, I appreciate what you've shown to me, but I don't think I'm ready to do anything now. Now you have your answer. There's no need for a second call, and everybody gets to part amicably, and there's no stress. So that's how I think about what you're saying to get folks from call one to call number two.
Awesome answer, but let's move on to the welcome offer next step.
Okay, so um, so really this is a very short email just to show them, is to welcome them, into your program, and then you want to tell them exactly what happens next. So again, this is a part that consultants typically skip because we're so excited to take the money and quote unquote get to work that we don't always communicate well with the client. So when they first sign on, hey, welcome, it's a pleasure to have you in the solution that we offer. So I've attached a presentation that we walk through together, right? So you're reminding them of what they signed up for, right? They get an immediate reminder. And then you tell them what your next steps are. We're going to do this first, this second, this third, and then some short follow up over the next couple of days. You'll get some more information from us, et cetera, et cetera. So the big idea here with this welcome step, and hopefully you see the logic of it. The big idea here is that you are always in the lead in these conversations, right? If you were dancing and we were dance partners, you are the leader. You tell your other dance partner what to do. It's your job to provide that guidance. And so this welcome email is no different. You're telling them what they just signed up for. You're thanking them for it. You're telling them what happens next and what they can expect. This is always your job. The client is not going to remember. It is not going to be top of mind for them. And it's not going to be intuitive or natural. It is your job to always lead this dance. And so so the welcome email is an example of how to do that. So there were a couple of things, y'all, in this flow that I skipped over, like the free consultation and the proposal template that's in the closing call. For time's sake, I skipped those things, but you've got formats for them inside the downloads that we talked about. So let's see here. I'm wrapping us up. So welcome back to the slides. And now it is just time for some good old-fashioned Q&A. So Sweeney, is anything left to talk about? How are we feeling? Y'all tell us what's going on. What you want to do next?
All right, so we had a couple questions that were coming in throughout. If anyone felt like your question wasn't answered, feel free to throw it into the chat now and into the questions now, and I will definitely address that. And let me pull up some of the ones that I kind of saved throughout. So one that someone asked, and I have a feeling I know what your response is going to be, but I'm interested. Do you ever push back on objections to the second call?
I don't know why there would be objections. So if someone's having an objection to a second call, the way I interpret that means they prefer to buy it now. They prefer to buy your services now and they don't want to wait till a second call. So if they're trying to buy your services now and they're clear about what they're buying, why have a second call? I don't know why you need one. I mean, just go forward from there. I mean, you got a deal. Take the deal. If it's a situation where they're uncomfortable with the second call because they don't quite understand or they aren't fully interested, well, they just don't have the second call. You're not trying to force anybody into it. You don't have to have the second call. There you go. That's how I'd answer that. That's how I'd respond to
that. And then someone else Denny was asking how to get the CEO email address. Now, there's a few different tactics for that, anywhere from crazy tools and software to outsourcing it. There's a lot of different ways you can approach that. That's something that I'll actually probably post as an additional resource for email guessing or email cracking. Cool. A lot of people, though, generally you can find the email pretty easily on their website or on their Twitter or even on their Facebook.
Yeah. Depending on the tier of business we're talking about, different strategies make the most sense. So that could be seriously, that can be a whole, presentation all to itself on how to go about doing that. But I know, Sweeney is going to take care of you guys with some tools, or some strategies. So I'll let that.
Yeah, I'm going to write down a note right now to send some extra content on that for you guys.
Yeah.
Now, we did have a more specific question. This one was, can you give an idea as an insurance agent how I can apply this to potential clients for upsells?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. It's case study time. All right. Cool beans. Okay. So you are now one of the boundaries of an insurance agent is that you're selling products that you didn't create. You are a representative of a company, right? So you can't add anything to a given insurance offering. However, insurance companies are really good at creating specific offerings for specific types of people. They're very good at that. So you know what those are. I'm not an insurance person. I did, I used to do insurance a long time ago, but I was a claims person, not a service person. But in any case, um, so what I would do is I would focus on one of those particular service offerings, right? That comes from from that insurance company, and that becomes the program, that becomes the service. And so if it is um, and I'd love an example. I can't think of one. I can't think of a good one off the top of my head. But if it is an offering for, let's say, the elderly, someone who is 65 or above, where you got to be 65 or above to be applicable to apply for this particular offering. So that's who you're reaching out to now, are 60-year-olds and above. So a lot of your outreach has now been refined, right? And then you were reminding them of what their problem is. So are you afraid that you may not have enough money for retirement? Are you afraid? Are you concerned that you may not have um, enough finances to cover your final services? If when you finally pass away, you may not have funds for that. So now we know what the problem is. We know what they're solving for, right? And so now you can send out the same targeted emails, right? Hey, sir or madam, I'm a insurance agent in the area, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm just, for those who are concerned that they may not have enough money available for their final services, I have some solutions for you. Here's who it's good for. Here's who it's not good for. Right. So you send out the email, you get them on the phone, and at that point they'll just tell you how concerned they are about not having enough funds for their final services. And so you get to tell them about how you can help them with that. And if they want to buy those services on the first call, great, you've got a new client. If they need some time to think about it and then go through it in more detail, perhaps with their husband or their wife or their kids or their etc. on the second call, there you go. So so as quickly as I can, there's a case study, and I'm open to anybody else who wants to walk through that while we're live. But there you go. There you go.
All right, now VB asks, can you speak to one email call close strategies for foot in the door offers? VB, if you could kind of clarify that or give us a little bit more information, I think we can answer that better, because I have an idea of what you're trying to say, but I'm not quite clear on it. So if you can type that back in. And then Denny asks, have you used this method to sell products?
To sell products? No, I haven't. So if we're talking about like physical product that you would ship, no, I have not. I've used it to sell services. But a very similar model, would work to sell products. What I would remind everybody is, if you're going to go through the effort to do this, make sure it's worth your while. So let it be a high value product. You don't want to do this for a $5 or $10 or $15 physical widget. I mean, let it be for something that is premium in the value in the eyes of your client.
And then Brenda said, I'll walk through live. Can he ask me about my offers and how the language should be? Brenda, not not quite sure what you want on that one once again. So can you kind of clarify that for us a little bit more, and then we can definitely discuss your offers or how to set up the language.
If Brenda, if you're asking like to do like a little walkthrough that I just did just a moment ago, if you just tell us what you're selling, then I'll give you a few thoughts on that. Because I made the offer to kind of walk through it live, and so that's the way we can do that. So if you just type in what you're selling, then we can kind of work through that. By the way, since we're talking about that, I've got my email address here on the screen, and I'm doing this for two reasons. So number one, if you're working this, like you say, listen, Alze, I'm in. I didn't fully get everything you said because there's a lot at one time, but I really do want to do this or something like this, and I have a question. So if you've got a question, send me the email, and I'll be more than happy to walk you through one of the templates or whatever, so that you can actually execute. That's what matters to me, that you execute, not that whatever, execution. So I'm offering my email address so you can send me the note so we can have the conversation.
And Denny asks here, do you use direct mail? I want to say that my note on direct mail is it's a different animal. It's a different beast. A big part of direct mail is, number one, it costs money to send out direct mail, getting the addresses, and making sure that what you're sending out actually gets opened and then responded to. So that's why we tend to favor email. Not that direct mail can't work, but I know that there's a few different hacks, like as far as sending packages or sending letters in certain ways so that people open them up and check them out. So can you apply these principles to direct mail? Yes. But I would probably recommend a different strategy if you're going to go direct mail. Most off, I would just recommend the email.
Yeah, if you're going direct mail, I would refer you to some other folks that do direct mail for real, and they spend money every day refining how they do direct mail. Period. That's enough. Period. Yeah.
And then VB was saying like a low ticket offer, like a video or mobile site as a front end offer. And I would say most likely that you're probably going to go through the same process. I mean, if you're selling something like a video or a mobile site, unless you already have a sales page set up, you're probably going to still have to jump on the phone with the person to actually make and complete that sale. And think about it this way too. If you're telling me that this is a low ticket offer, you're going to end up offering them $2,000 offer, $5,000 offer. So you're going to need to build that relationship anyways to work up until that point.
Yeah, the idea, without going too far down this kind of conversation, the idea of a low ticket offer is that the offer will sell itself. That's the major idea. That if you just put it in front of someone, they'll go, oh sure, and they'll just pick it up and buy it, right? So if that's the route you're going, you shouldn't have to go on the phone. To be honest, it should just sell itself. Right? But if you're going to be on the phone interacting with someone, and Sweeney and I talked about this offline a little earlier, my perspective is if you're going to get on the phone, then offer them the most dynamic thing you've ever come up with. That's my perspective. Be as awesome as you possibly can muster when you get on the phone with them. So that way they know that you are you're their guy, you're their gal. They should always come back to you for this kind of stuff because you are flat out awesome. So instead of getting on the phone to offer them a front end offer, man, get on the phone and try to knock their socks off with something very, very valuable. So you may have to think about that for a little bit to figure out how you want to construct that. But I'm talking about the relationship with that client. And if you're going to be on the phone, man, try to wow them as best you possibly can. That's my perspective.
And now we also have someone who asks, second email with a video, which is brilliant. How long did you find the perfect video is minutes wise? And they asked if they could go through some of the presentation in that video. So I told them to reach out to your email and they should be able to easily get that link. But as far as, do you kind of have a perfect video amount of time, or what do you aim for there?
Yeah. So this is one of those things where I'm going to go back to Yoda. Do or do not. There is no try. So I didn't try to perfect it. I don't have a perfect answer for that. What was important for me, it still is important for me when I use that method that I showed you, was to be very clear about what they can expect from the call with me. And if I can say all that in 2 minutes, great. If I can say it in 15 minutes, then that's just what it is. The video that I've got like 2 different versions, and one's around 7 minutes and one's around 10 minutes. So if you're looking for an answer, there's your answer. I got one around 7 and one around 10. But please don't get caught in that. The purpose of that video is to be very clear about what they can expect from your coming conversation. And if you can say it quickly, awesome. If it takes you a little longer, there's nothing wrong with
that. And Larry has a good point here. Video equals know, like, and trust. And that's a good point too. I mean, that's how you get people to actually like you and know you through videos, through your voice. It's a very good point. Now, someone asked, have you tried to put people through a launch funnel after they respond to the initial email? I think for this method, this is more of a direct one-on-one contact. So you have to realize that they haven't opted into anything. If you were going to go that route, then maybe you would share a landing page with them, and if they opt in, then you could conduct that launch funnel. But for this route, we're more focused on kind of that one-on-one contact and getting it to a phone call.
I totally agree. And as a short little second to that, the amount of effort it takes to set up an evergreen launch funnel, if you compare that to the amount of time it takes to set up what we just talked about, it's night and day. So it is. If you've got a high level service, you're going to get a better return on your time doing what we just talked about today, sending out cold emails, than you are trying to create this awesome evergreen launch funnel. That's my 2 cents on that.
And Joe, let's see. I'm going to try to bring Joe on here real quick.
Sure.
Joe, I just unmuted you. Let me know if that is working.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Awesome. Alze, man, you knocked it out of the park.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You did an awesome job. Everybody on the call, if you just give me some feedback in the chat. I know I've been chatting with some of you guys for the last 10 or 15 minutes, but let Alze know exactly what you guys thought of the training so far. I mean, this is crazy. Everybody was saying awesome things about you, Alze.
Well, good deal.
Yeah, we had one here that this is by far the best training I've attended. You guys rock. Most hosts of webinars treat their listeners as if they're stupid, but you guys brought nothing but great content.
Oh, I appreciate that. Hey y'all, I really appreciate that, because I'm on webinars too, and I roll my eyes too when people kind of do their salesy things. I'm like, come on, y'all. So I appreciate the fact that y'all got value for your time, because you can't get this time back. So that means a lot to me. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. And I just wanted to comment in on one thing. Somebody was asking about the launch sequence, and do you subscribe them to that? Guys, I would recommend not doing that. Trust me, when it goes to or when it comes to putting together an evergreen launch sequence, it takes a really, really long time. I just got done building one out a couple weeks ago. I'm sure you guys probably saw it, which was the Rapid Video Ranking Blueprint. That took me 2.5 weeks, basically head down, doing nothing else. And it's the last thing that I would personally want to see happen with you guys. It's just you guys go spend 2.5 weeks doing nothing else, only to put a couple people in, an evergreen launch sequence.
Yeah.
So that's what I love about Alze's, technique, is you guys are going to be able to get results really, really fast with this.
Yeah. And once you build,
and we did have a question here for you, Alze. What about upselling to existing clients?
Gold mine. Yeah. If you've already got existing clients and you have an even better offer or an even more valuable offering for them, I mean, this is great. And if you already have them on an email list, then sending an email through your system, whether again Aweber, iContact, whatever you use, is so much easier. So what I would encourage you is that to come up with the most awesome offering you can. Come up with a high level, very targeted, knock their socks off kind of offering, and see who wants to talk about it. Yeah, yes, man, gold mine. Go for it. Go.
And Joe, wasn't sure if you had any other input you wanted to add there.
I'm just trying to reply to everybody in the chat. Everybody's saying really awesome stuff. I wanted to mention this one. Johan Miller says, Joe, frankly, until this webinar, I wasn't really paying attention. This has changed my mind, and I know that today's call will change my business. So I personally just love seeing stuff like that in the chat. So that means a lot to me, guys.
And then we have one more question here, Alze. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it.
Thank you.
Have you heard of the Dean Jackson 9-word email that asks a question?
No, I know who Dean Jackson is, but I haven't heard of that specific strategy. So,
so Danny, I would say for that, with a 9-word email. Okay.
I know what that is. I can shed a little bit of light, I believe. So Dean Jackson has a famous email that he uses and that he teaches people to use. And correct me if I'm wrong, Denny, but the language is basically something like, are you still interested in X? Right? So it's typically like a follow-up series that would go out in an autoresponder campaign that would say, hey, Sweeney, are you still interested in, and then whatever you opted in for, like, are you still interested in growing your business? Are you still interested in getting, top Google rankings? And then it's just like, just reply if you are. And then, that's how they're getting people on the phone.
And guys, just to kind of comment on how well this can work, we actually have Matt, who's made a few suggestions here and recommendations, and I'm going to follow up with after the webinar, and maybe we can get him on the next Q&A session. He said he's been using this exact process, and he's been closing about 4 to 6 new clients a month. So, I mean, and he's in, I'm pretty sure, rep marketing and video SEO. So there you go. That's, someone that's doing something that's very similar to a lot of what you guys are doing, and it's working great for him.
Awesome. Awesome.
So guys, I'm going to wrap this up now. I want to be respectful of Alze's time. Of course, if you have any more questions, you should see his email right there. You can also reach out to me, Sweeney at Digital Triggers. Joe, I want to thank you for popping in here, and Alze, I want to thank you for jumping on.
Yeah, this was a pleasure. I enjoyed it. Thanks again to Joe and to Sweeney for inviting me and let me do this. Just trying to give what I got, so thank y'all.
All right, guys. So I'm going to wrap it up now. I will get that recording in there for you.
That's it. That's all I got, Sweeney.
All right, I appreciate it. So thanks, everybody. I'll get that recording up there for you, and we'll be in touch. Like I said, any questions, feel free to reach out. And everyone have a good one. Go kick some butt. It's only Tuesday, so you have a strategy that you can use. And I want to hear about results, too. Anyone that does this, let me know problems you're having or results that you get. And everyone have a good one.